Managing an organization as large and complex as the FBI requires a definitive idea of where we are now and where we hope to be in 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. That's where our strategy comes in. The FBI strategy enables bureau leaders and managers to define and pursue objectives crucial to mission success, prioritize resources to achieve those objectives, track progress along the way, address gaps when identified, and, most importantly, deliver consistent results. The FBI strategy is periodically reviewed and adapted to align with the changing threat landscape and organizational climate.
August 14, 2024. For immediate release. U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Idaho. Bellevue man sentenced to 27 years in federal prison for sexually exploiting children. Boise. Spencer Riding, 26, formerly of Bellevue, Idaho, was sentenced to 27 years in federal prison for sexual exploitation of children, U.S. Attorney Josh Hurwitz announced today. U.S. District Judge Amanda K. Brailsford also sentenced Riding to a lifetime of supervised release to follow his prison term. According to court records, in 2019, Riding used social media to contact a 15-year-old minor child. Through social media, Riding persuaded a child to send him topless photos. Using these photos, Riding threatened the minor child. He threatened to send the topless photos to strangers on the internet if she did not send him child pornography. The child sent him child pornography to avoid release of her explicit photos. Eventually, the child and her family came forward to law enforcement. Law enforcement, through the report from the child and investigative efforts, secured a search warrant for Riding's residence. The search warrant authorized law enforcement to seize and forensically analyze his digital devices. Law enforcement seized a cell phone and forensically examined it. On the phone, law enforcement discovered images of child pornography from an additional child victim. Law enforcement investigated the production of these images. They discovered that Riding engaged in a similar criminal pattern of coercion, whereby he contacted a minor child over social media, secured compromising photos, and threatened to release sexually explicit images if the child did not send additional child pornography. Riding was indicted by a federal grand jury for the conduct above. While pending sentencing, law enforcement in Wyoming received a tip that Riding was engaged in further child pornography crimes using social media. Law enforcement secured another search warrant for his residence and executed it in 2022. Law enforcement discovered that Riding had previously contacted a minor child in another state and traveled there to record sexual acts with the child. Riding entered a subsequent plea of guilty to a superseding information that reflected criminal conduct against all known victims. U.S. Attorney Hurwitz commended the cooperative efforts of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Gooden County Sheriff's Office, the Wyoming Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, the Department of Homeland Security, and the St. Helens Police Department, which led to the charges. This case was prosecuted by Assistant U.S. Attorneys David G. Robbins and Cassandra McGrady. This case was brought as part of Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative to combat the growing epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse launched in May 2006 by the Department of Justice, led by U.S. Attorney's Offices and the Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section, CEOS, of the Department of Justice. Project Safe Childhood marshals federal, state and local resources to better locate, apprehend and prosecute individuals who exploit children via the Internet, as well as to identify and rescue victims. For more information about Project Safe Childhood, please visit www.justice.gov/psc. August 14, 2024. For immediate release. U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Kentucky. Floyd County man sentenced to 50 years for production and distribution of child pornography. Pikeville, Kentucky. A Herald, Kentucky, man, Christopher Hall, 26, was sentenced on Wednesday by Chief U.S. District Judge Danny C. Reeves to 50 years in prison for production and distribution of child pornography. According to his plea agreement, on May 29, 2022, Hall produced a video with him sexually abusing a minor. Hall later distributed the video to others using WhatsApp. Under federal law, Hall must serve 85% of his prison sentence. Upon his release from prison, he will be under the supervision of the U.S. Probation Office for 10 years. Carlton S. Shire, IV, United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Kentucky. Michael E. Stansberry, Special Agent in Charge, FBI, Louisville Field Office. And Colonel Philip J. Burnett, Jr., Commissioner of the Kentucky State Police, jointly announced the sentence. The investigation was conducted by the FBI and Kentucky State Police. Assistant U.S. Attorney Justin Blankenship prosecuted the case on behalf of the United States. The U.S. Attorney's Office prosecuted this case as part of Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative launched in 2006 by the Department of Justice to combat the growing epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse. Led by U.S. Attorney's Offices and the Criminal Division's Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section, CEOS. Project Safe Childhood marshals federal, state, and local resources to better locate, apprehend, and prosecute individuals who exploit children via the Internet, as well as to identify and rescue victims. For more information about Project Safe Childhood, please visit www.projectsafechildhood.governor.
Equality before the law, also known as equality under the law. Equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality, or legal egalitarianism, is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law. The rule of law is a political ideal that all citizens and institutions within a country, state, or community are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and leaders. It is sometimes stated simply as no one is above the law.